Hey everybody, Michael Snyder, Pacific Northwest Weather Watch. Today is September 26th, and we're looking at the infrared satellite imagery northeast Pacific Ocean. There's the Pacific Northwest to the upper right. Strong low moving in towards southeast Alaska. Jet stream starting to get a bit more active is eventually going to start to usher in some more frontal systems into the Pacific Northwest as we go on in through this weekend and in through next week. Cutoff low there north of the Hawaiian Islands. You can see Hurricane Narda way off to the south. As we go through the fall, things start to get a bit more active across the Pacific Ocean. And if we look way off to the west, there's Japan, and you can see some of these tropical systems starting to interject some of their moisture back up into the jet stream. And that's going to get things a bit more active all the way across the ocean back towards the Pacific Northwest. So looking at that as well, again, you can see where this tropical moisture is, and then it starts to spread some of that moisture. It energizes the jet stream, and we start to get a bit more of some troughing here towards the Pacific Northwest and better chances for frontal systems moving through the area. We'll be taking a look at that in some detail here in a moment. So we got the Labor Mountain fire and the Sugarloaf fire out there. There's Mount Rainier. The Wildcat fire is still burning, but it is producing smoke here this morning. If we go back in the overnight hours, look at the hot spot out there near Highway 97. And again, the Sugarloaf fire continuing to burn out there. Hopefully these frontal systems can help provide some relief here over the next few days as we go through next week. And Benjamin Yurkovich sent me this from Washington Weather Chasers. Look at all the smoke the Labor Mountain fire was producing. He was on a high ridge there just to the south of it. And look at those flames just burning on the trees there. So yeah, Washington Weather Chasers, check out Ben's page. Yeah, he's always out there doing stuff like this, as am I, and as is the rest of the Pacific Northwest storm chasing community. Pretty tight-knit community, and yeah, we're always in contact with each other, and we're always planning our next chase. So taking a look at the fire smoke out there, you can see that smoke, even from the Wildcat fire, kind of gets reinvigorated here today, and that'll be continuing for the next few days. But hopefully, again, these frontal systems will start putting these fires out. If you want to order some of my merch, I rarely mention this, but stuff like this premium men's hoodie is really good quality. I've got a few of these. I've had a couple for like 3 years and they're still in excellent shape. I get them oversized here because, in the fall and the winter, you're kind of chilly and roaming around the house and whatnot. But yeah, these are very excellent quality. Click on the link down below. It helps support the channel as well. And of course, the weather station. It is a great time of year to get one of these for your place of residence if you don't have one yet. It's so much more fun to watch the weather when you've got one of these attached to your home. And yeah, click on the link down below to save 10% off. Now, 500 millibar heights. This is the Gulf of Alaska stuff ongoing here, kind of powering that strong storm in towards southeast Alaska. You can really see it right there. And we've got that moisture plume pointed at the western BC. Some lenticular cloud activity may be ongoing as we go through the day tomorrow before this next frontal system finally starts to arrive as we go on in towards the early portion of next week. And then we might be dealing with some more fall-like weather as we continue on in through next week. More on that here in a moment. But there's that strong low here pushing that precipitation towards Vancouver Island. Some of it clipping some of British Columbia and some of the extreme northwest Washington coast as we go on in through Saturday morning. But look at that plume moisture, atmospheric river characteristics pointed towards British Columbia. And then it takes a while. We have to wait for this entire trough to pivot towards the coast a bit before we get more of that precipitation here for western Washington and western Oregon. But by the time we go through Monday, it looks like it finally starts to kick through here and bring its initial round of precipitation here. Even the Cascades getting some there. Hopefully that starts to help the Labor Mountain fire and the Sugarloaf fire, the Wildcat fire. Let's get those fires out. And then you can see a stronger storm approaches Vancouver Island there, and that will be spreading additional precipitation amounts as we go through next week, and then maybe some more systems after that. So taking a look at daily 2-meter maximum temperature Friday to September 26th, and you can see, we're not too warm today here across the region. Seattle 70, 75 there for Portland, maybe some mid and upper 70s out there east of the mountains. We go through tomorrow, we warm things up even a little bit more. Look at that, 74 for Seattle. Some nice days out there, so definitely enjoy this while it lasts, because we are headed towards October, folks, and you know how it goes in the Pacific Northwest. If you haven't lived here for long, the seasonal change is definitely coming. Then we go through Sunday. And Monday, you see things start to cool down as those frontal systems start to swing through as we go through next week. Now, taking a look at total precipitation in inches on last night's European artificial intelligence run, you can see the plethora of moisture again across western BC as we're kind of waiting our turn for Seattle and Portland and places east of the mountains. But man, western BC getting a lot of precipitation here as we go through Monday. But then you see it also start to fall for Seattle, Portland, some of the Willamette Valley, coastal areas, North Cascades start picking up a bit more as well. And then we got additional systems after that producing more precipitation. So you can kind of see the fall pattern change here as we go on into the early portion of October. And again, hopefully that puts out some of those fires. Now, looking at the artificial intelligence, a little bit of an extended outlook run here. So there's the frontal system kicking through as we go through the early portion of next week. Trough hangs out for a bit as we go through next week and kind of moves right across us. A little bit of a ridge there, but then another trough moves through the extended forecast as we go through the following week. And look at that upper level low right over the top of us, swinging a frontal system through with it also. And then Fantasyland, look at that trough really dig off the coastline and look at this massive ridge. You can imagine the flow coming up and around this ridge and back down out of the northeast and carving out this big trough here for the Pacific Northwest. We'll see if there's anything to that over the next few days as well. It's still way off in the forecast. And looking at the Pacific Ocean, Northern Pacific Ocean to be exact, 200 millibars, about 39,000 feet up in the atmosphere. There's the Hawaiian Islands here, Pacific Northwest to the right, Japan to the left, and you can see this jet stream getting a bit more energized. And here's that trough as we go through the early portion of next week, right there. That's what we're bringing better precipitation amounts for Western Washington, Oregon, Cascades, and then the trough potentially hanging out as we go on in through next week. You can clearly see it there right out over our coastal waters. Now, looking at Quilly, you can kind of see getting clipped initially a little bit into the northwest Washington coast as we go through Saturday, and then better chances as we go through Monday, and then probably Tuesday night on in through Wednesday morning. So a little bit of a 1-2-3 punch there. Seattle, Tacoma, not showing much here for the Saturday system. It really doesn't look like it's going to get this far south, but as we go through Monday, we start to pick up some of these precipitation amounts, but we don't have great agreement just yet on how much we're going to get. Some of the ensembles don't show much, some of them much better, but you can see with the second shot as we go on into the day Wednesday, looks like better chances. And this is up on Vancouver Island, and you can see the 1-2-3 punch with some pretty healthy precipitation amounts. Vancouver International, better chances on Saturday for getting measurable precipitation if you're up north of the Canadian border, especially across the higher terrain where it's going to be kind of a washout. And then the 1-2-3 rounds of precipitation as we go through next week. Here's Portland. On the Monday system, you can see it does show some decent amounts with some, but lesser on others, and then better as we go through the mid portion of next week. Tillamook, something similar, the 1-2 punch there starting on Monday, and then again later on through the mid portion. And then Eugene, something similar there also. We're looking at Pendleton here. You know, it's harder to get these frontal systems east of the mountains, but it does show potential for at least a little bit. This is Wenatchee, and this is closer to that Sugarloaf fire and for the Labor Mountain fire here. And it does show some precipitation getting out over there. So cross your fingers for that. Looking at the fantasy windstorm hunt, you can see there are some higher gusts in there, but nothing exceptional and nothing you would get too excited about just yet. This is Hoquiam. It does show some bigger gust potential in there, but again, that's just 1 or 2 ensemble members out of 50. The control run shows nothing of the sort as far as the very strong winds, and the mean isn't that high either. In Seattle, Tacoma, something similar there as well. Just a very outside chance of a 40-mile-per-hour gust as we go through the Monday system and maybe on through next week. We'll pay more attention to that as we get closer. And the 6 to 10 day, kind of above normal signal there as we go through the first week of October, above, and above again, mixed signal there as we go through October 9th. And check out the Patreon page if you like. The link is down below. So anyway, hope you guys are having a good day. Click like and subscribe. We will do this all again tomorrow, and I will talk to you guys then.